Hey, Moondog here. I'm the creator of Operation Bad Blood, sponsored by evic.com and their official East Coast Customer Appreciation event, produced at EMR Event Park in New Milford, Pennsylvania, that's just north of Scranton, near the New York border, and one of the largest charity airsoft events in the country. Every year we donate half of the game proceeds to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, and we've raised well over $50,000 for diabetes research, which I'm really proud of. Well, in this video, we're going to go over what this game is like, what makes it a little bit different, what you can expect, as well as what's required to play at Operation Bad Blood. In a separate video, we're going to cover the rules and objectives because this is a very unique game with a unique rule set, but that's another long video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified when I post that video. In this game, we're just going to go over what you need to comply with to be able to play in this event in terms of uniforms, in terms of airsoft gear, etc. Because this is a Milsim Light event. I say Milsim Light because this doesn't have the same hardcore serious rule set of, say, an American Milsim or a John Lew's Line Claws event. Those are great events, by the way, some awesome AOs, but this is a Milsim Light, intended to have a little bit of a more relaxed rules in terms of gear. For example, we allow for high cap magazines, which most Milsim events don't allow. This is to allow more new players, new to Milsim or large organized events, to attend and participate and have fun. So let's get started with this video. Be sure to hit the subscribe, hit the like button as well, and we'll get into the rules in a separate video. So let's just talk about where you can get the tickets for this event, because this is a large event. There's 1,000 players. We have 1,000 tickets for this event, but it sells out every year, weeks before the game starts, and you cannot buy tickets for this event at the field. You can only buy them online at evic.com, and like I said, it sells out way early, so be sure to get your tickets early. And don't be afraid. evic.com has really good customer service and generous return policy or refund policy on this. If you find out like 2 weeks before the game that you can't go because you got scheduled for work or whatever, they will refund your ticket purchase. Just call them, contact them before the game, and they'll arrange for a refund. So be sure to buy your tickets early. And you have to go to evic.com, so let's go there first. At evic, in fact, you'll be able to see a banner for Operation Bad Blood, and you can click on that banner. But if you don't see the banner because it changes, just go to their menu, go down to E-Exclusives, Evic Events, click on that, and then scroll down to Operation Bad Blood. All right. Now, there are 4 factions, 4 teams you can join. And it will default to one of those. So just be sure when you add the ticket to your cart that you are choosing an actual faction, and you don't accidentally just pick the default one. There's Black Shirts. You can also click on Deus Ex, Green's Army, or Marxist Task Force. So be sure you pick the right faction to join before purchasing your tickets. And this is also a great opportunity now to purchase your gear for the event. But more about the gear. Well, let's get into that in a sec. Below those 4 faction tickets, there are 4 very important documents that you'll need to bring to the game, so you be sure you click on them and download them. Let's start first, actually. There's a player packet, but let's start first with a field map. Click on that, and that will bring you down a high-res field map. And this, you can see the legend here, where your teams will start after we dismiss the players after the morning briefing. These are the starting locations for your factions. These are not the respawn points. These are the starting locations. But they are also water stations, so where you can come back and refill your canteens or hydration packs as needed. And there are also 2 tented safety areas on the field if you need them. So this is a very useful map. We can get into a little bit more of that a little bit later, but what you'll need to know is in the lower left corner quadrant of the map, this is the main facilities for EMR Event Park. There is a store that's near the center of the map where it says registration and chrono, and that's also where the chrono stations are going to be along the right end of the fencing. This area is where you will drop off players. Parking is going to be in a separate area to the left, and there's also bunkhouses, and there are also campsites, but we'll go into those in a bit. Just be aware that there's also a water station over there, and there's a sink over by the picnic pavilion. And that's also where we're going to be gathering in the morning when you sign up for the morning briefing. So getting back to the EVIC page, there's an event checklist you can download. Very useful for this event or any other, as a checklist of things that you should always bring to events. And the last button is the event waiver. Definitely print out that this waiver, fill it out, and bring it to the field. That way you can save yourself some time in the morning. You need to fill out a waiver for every person playing. All right, getting back to the EVIC page, scrolling down, you can get some more information about the event, the scenario, the background story. This event is set in a fictional civil war in the Democratic Republic of Congo. That war was started, set into motion by a massive Ebola outbreak. And that's the scenario for this event. You will be playing on one of 4 warring factions in this civil war. When is the event? It's going to be on Saturday, June 24th. Just be aware the game is on Saturday. Now, the field is being nice and is letting anybody who comes to the event, on the Saturday event, to come back on Sunday to play in skirmish games all day. And I will be hosting the first skirmish game. So just be sure that if you're buying tickets, you are there for the Saturday. And you can come the evening before to do early sign-in, and I recommend that on the Friday. Now, below that, where it is at EMR Event Park in New Milford, Pennsylvania, and you can click on that link. There's the EMR Event Park. The words are actually a link, so you can click on that. And EMR is an amazing field. It is over 100 acres, so imagine 10 football fields of woods, hills, valleys, structures. It's just awesome, and that's where we have our event every year. And this is also where, if you want to, there are places to stay locally in Scranton and also in Binghamton, which is across the New York border nearby. But you can also stay on site, but you need to make reservations with EMR ahead of time. And those campsites and bunkhouses, those reservations sell out early. So be sure to go to the EMR event park website and click on bunkhouses to reserve your bunkhouse if you want to stay on site. All right, let's get back to the EVIC page. Scrolling down, you'll see that the schedule of the event at Friday evening from 6 to 8 p.m. You can do early chrono and registration. Saturday, chrono and registration starts at 8 a.m. And Sunday you can come back for the skirmish games. Now below that there are the teams. There are the Black Shirts, Greens Army, Marxist Task Force, and Deus Ex. You can see there a description of the uniforms that are required, and we'll get into those a little bit more in a second. But I want to point out that under each of the factions, there's a Facebook page. You can click on that, and let's click on Black Shirts here. That'll take you to a page on Facebook where you can talk and ask your questions to the players and the volunteer faction leadership for those factions, and ask your questions about the event. They won't be talking too much about strategy because these are open to the public, so you don't want to be talking about secret stuff on an open group. But just want to point out that there's one for each of the factions there. So definitely, once you pick your faction, go introduce yourself on Facebook. Let's go back to the top, to the player packet, because this is where we're going to talk about what kind of gear you need to bring with you. Note that there is a low-res map on page 1 of the player packet. Use the high-res map that you can link. You can get a link from the EVIC page. Download that high-res map. This low-res map is just there for your convenience. I would recommend printing the first 3 pages out and having a printout in your admin pouch and your gear with you. Quick reference, page 1 has the radio frequencies that you'll need to use, and you are restricted to only these radio frequencies because for safety reasons we need to be able to reach out to members of each of the factions separately. If we find out, let's say, that somebody on the Black Shirts team, their lights are on in their car, I will be calling on the Black Shirts channel and letting you know. Stuff like that. So stick to your frequency. Don't jam other people's frequency. And if you're new to using radios, turn off the Vox, the voice activation, please, because that'll jam up your channel worse than anything else. All right. Going to quick reference, page 2. This is important. Print out this as well. But here is where we list your FPS limits, or in this case, we will be using joules to measure energy and velocity. This is in compliance to comply with more serious milsim events like those put on by American Milsim and Lion Claws, which have moved over to joules to measure velocity on airsoft guns. Now, there are charts online. For example, here's one from the Novrich website, which you can figure out what it is 1.85 joules that we're measuring with 0.32 BBs. So there'll be roughly about 390 FPS with if you're using 25 gram BBs, that's roughly the same as about 399 FPS. So the reason I say it's about, again, check these charts is because I don't know what kind of BBs you use on your airsoft gun. So just figure that out. We are the rules we're going with are going to be that of 1.85 joules with 0.32 gram BBs. Let me repeat that. 1.85 joules with 0.32 gram BBs. And the staff, my volunteer staff, will be using our own chronos with our own chrono BBs. When you go to the chrono stations, and I want you to bring all of the airsoft guns you plan to play with when you go to chrono, and you want to also make sure you have a full magazine for all of your guns, because the magazines really require having a full magazine to function properly. We will top them off with our own chrono BBs, but you'll need to bring your own full magazines to chrono station. All right, so 1.85 joules with 0.32 gram BBs is the limit, and these are limits, not goals, so be sure you're under these limits. If you want to bring a sniper rifle, it has to be a bolt action sniper rifle to play in that role. And for bolt action sniper rifles, we will allow them to be higher energy. They can be up to 2.8 joules. Everything else has to be 1.85. Bolt action can be 2.8 joules. All right. All full auto guns must be under 30 rounds per second for rate of fire. And we insist on bio BBs only. Also, when going to chrono or anywhere off of the play field, when you're not playing, you have to have barrel condoms on all of your guns that aren't. If you have a pistol, it has to be holstered. All right. Every other gun has to have a barrel condom on it. All right. If you will be yelled at if you do not, and we will be requiring you to purchase them from one of the local vendors that will have booths there, but you will not be allowed to walk around even to chrono station without a barrel condom. All right, if you are bringing an HPA powered gun, you can get free refills, free tank fills at the EMR shop, but you must have an external lockable tournament lock on your regulator. And there are so many different brands and models that it's impossible to list out what each of those are allowable, but just know that you have to have a lockable external tournament lock on your regulator. No exceptions on that. All right. Also, required gear, you can see here on page 3 is full seal goggles with retention. By full seal, wraparound shooting glasses without some sort of foam seal on them will not be allowed. You have to have full seal goggles. You also need to have face covering for the lower half of your face. I recommend mesh, but you can use a shamag, a bandana, whatever, but you have to have a full face covering. You also need to cover your ears, whether that is your helmet or headphones, or just, again, a bandana that's colored like your faction color. That's allowed too. You'll need to bring a dead rag. You'll also need to have name tape because everybody's required to have full face protection covering. It's going to be hard to identify people, even your own friends, from everybody else. So that's why we insist everybody has multiple name tapes on your gear. I recommend one on your helmet, one on your chest rig, one on your back. If you don't want to buy a name tape, you can make your own. Just use some duct tape and write your call sign or name on your chest rig and your helmet. All right. Bring some sort of water container, whether it's a canteen or whatnot. We recommend 2 quarts of water hydration minimum. It is hot. It is the middle of summer, so this is at the end of June. It gets really hot. And you want to bring enough food that you will not endanger yourself from low blood sugar out there. They will not be taking breaks. This is a non-stop game from 11 to 4, so that's 5 hours. There's no timeout for lunch. You can, like I said, take a break if you choose to, but the game will continue. So a lot of guys will bring a power bar or whatever to eat on the field while they're playing. All right. Moving on. Let's go down to the to page 4, table of contents. So I want to point out above the table of contents, you can also reach out to us. There is a website link there to the Facebook page for the Bad Blood series, and that'll take you over to Facebook. You can ask your general questions here as well. But also importantly, there is an email, and let me just go back to that page 4. There's an email. You could also reach out to our volunteer group on Facebook with that email. All right, let's move down to page 6 because this is important. Most players want to know, what do I need to bring as far as my loadout? Well, uniforms, tops and bottoms, they don't need to match. We recommend they match, but your tops and your pants need to be matched to the general color scheme or camo scheme of your faction. They don't have to be matchy-matchy. Again, we recommend that. But for your pants and your shirts need to match your faction. That's part of being, that's part of Milsim. You can't just show up with a black top and green pants. Not for this game. Your uniform needs to be uniform because for most of these factions, except for one of them, are going to be part of some organized group, whether it's the Army or the Presidential Presidential Protection Force. In real life, they would be wearing the same camo. So that's the reason why, if you want to be Milsim, you got to dress Milsim. All right. So black shirts. As you can see here, some uniform examples. But let me take a step back there. Headwear as well. Headwear should match your uniform. So we want your helmet or your hat to match the general color scheme of your faction. So let's say if you're wearing if you have a tan helmet, for example, and you want to join the Green's Army, which is green, you can't wear the tan helmet. You have to buy, if you don't want to buy a new helmet, buy a helmet cover, a cloth helmet cover, or spray paint your helmet, or simply put green tape all over your helmet. That's cool too. That'll comply. So we have cheap ways for you to comply to the requirement that your headgear match your general faction colors. We recommend also that you color your face covering. But here's where we differ from most serious Milsim games. Your chest rig, your plate carrier, your vest, whatever, doesn't have to match your team colors. We'll allow that. And the other question we often get asked is ghillie suits. Yeah, you can wear them, and we aren't requiring them to be faction specific, but I don't recommend ghillie suits. One, it gets really hot. Two, this is not a game where you're going to be laying in wait and ambush and defending a location. So wearing a ghillie suit really isn't that useful. This game is more run and gun, search and recover. So you will be your army is going to be moving around a lot in this game. You will not be holding territory. So having a ghillie suit really does not behoove you anyway, and you can ask the veteran players on the Facebook. They don't recommend it. Okay, so let's get back to black shirts. They are the security force of the DRC president. They wear black and dark grays. These are examples. You can wear all black, Typhoon, Urban, or Multicam Dark. The next main faction is Green's army. Green is the primary color, so you can wear olive drab, solid green, or woodland, marpat, flora, which is a Russian Soviet camo, flecktarn, or tiger stripe. So these are all acceptable camos, but these are the only ones that you're allowed to wear for general greens, because they are, in the story, they are part of the Congolese army. So the army wears the same uniform. All right, simple enough. Marxist task force, on the other hand, in-game story, are a expeditionary force put together by various neighboring countries to support the Marxist rebels in Congo. So they will be made up of members of different national armies. Therefore, the uniform can be of any type of tan or desert color. So that makes sense. It's realistic. That's milsim. The fourth faction you can join is Deus Ex, and this faction is if you are wearing multicam or OCP, and that's your primary it's a transitional camo, join this faction. We'll also allow ATAX, IAX, and Cryptic Mandrake, but if for whatever reason you don't have those camos, you can also wear white. So we'll allow that. So you can wear a white t-shirt if you don't have a multicam top. All right. There's also a fourth faction that normal players can't join. That's the staff tribal team. They're going to be wearing mostly civilian and PMC style gear, but mostly civilian clothing. All right, scrolling down to page 8, you can there's a more detailed list of equipment that you're required, as well as equipment that you are not allowed, prohibited from bringing to the event. If you're going to bring smoke markers, only sport smoke. Sport smoke is the only allowed smoke marker at this field. And so just be aware of that. If you were bringing enola gaze or any other markers, you will not be allowed to use them. We also limit the kind of grenades that you can use that are not green gas powered. These are only allowed ones are the EG67s, the TAG 67s, and the AFG 6s. No pyro projectile grenades, so just be aware of that. And the rest of it goes into more of the rules, but which we'll cover in another video, so be sure to hit the subscribe button for that. So let's go to the high-res map just briefly before we finish off this video, just to give you an idea of what you can expect on game day. So once you order your tickets from evic.com, you'll get an email confirmation. Be sure to take a screenshot or bring a printout of that to the field on when you sign in on Saturday morning or Friday evening. We will be looking it up on our list and comparing it. So whoever purchased the tickets, that's who's going to be listed. So that's why you need to keep your purchase, the ticket order number, privy to you. Also, so you'll bring out a printout of that and your photo ID just to make sure that you're who you are. To the registration area, to the shop, to the left as you drive in, and be sure when you get off the highway, it's going to be a dirt road to get up to the field. Drive slowly on this dirt road, one as a courtesy to the other players behind you. You don't want to be kicking up dirt and blinding them as you're driving up. But also, the field manager lives on the field with his family. There are kids playing. It's his property. It's his house. You'll be passing his house, so drive slowly. As you drive up, it curves around the old field, which is closed now, and the old castle, but you'll be driving up and you'll be making a hard left turn. At that point, you'll have the field shop in front of you. There is the parade ground and the parking for the field shop. This is not parking for the event. You can drop off players here, but this is not parking for the event. This is where the vendors are going to be, the food trucks. So you're going to make a hard left turn, and then that will take you over to the campsites, the parking areas, the bunkhouses. At the store, on the left side of the store on game day, at game morning, that is where the sign-up lines are going to be. You're going to bring your printout of your order number, your ID to one of those lines, and they're going to be separated out by the faction that you've joined and you bought tickets for. And that's where you're going to get your wristband. We're going to go look through there. You get your wristband, you'll get your event swag, your patch, and then you're going to proceed over to the pavilion, the picnic pavilion, where there's a stage, and we're going to assemble in front of that stage for the morning safety briefing. The chrono station is to the right of the store, and there will be a line that will be forming up along the fence, the netting fence, from the parking areas over to the chrono stations. And again, bring all of your guns that you want to play with, that you want to use for the game, with full magazines and barrel condoms to the chrono station. And then just gather around the stage, and we will be giving you the briefing in the morning, sending you out to the field to play, and at the end of the day, at 4 o'clock or whenever, the weather permitting, we'll call everybody back in for the very epic raffle. What you want to do is go back to the registration lines actually that you went to in the morning. That's where you'll be issued out a raffle ticket. You'll get a free raffle ticket for every person who purchased a ticket to the game gets a free raffle ticket, and EVIC gives away an epic amount of stuff from themselves and the game sponsors. It goes on for well over half an hour of just giveaways. It's amazing. It's legendary. So you definitely want to stay for the whole day, just to make sure you don't miss out on that raffle. And again, after the end of the game day, come back again on Sunday if you have the time and the energy to play some skirmish games. So that's what you can expect from Operation Bad Blood. It's a great game. It's a fun game. Everybody comes back year after year, and you're supporting diabetes research. So hey, it's good all around. So again, stay tuned for come back for my rules and video. And you can also check up on my channel. We'll be doing live streams weekly in May and in June. So check on my channel for that. All right. Well, thanks again for watching. You be safe out there, and we'll see you at Operation Bad Blood. Moondog, out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.